Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are NC.
The Royals are back home after a 10-day, 10-game road trip, hoping to hit at home like they did on the road, batting .325 as a team with 13 home runs and 4 games with 16 or more hits, and doing all of that against winning and/or contending teams. Tonight, Bruce Chen takes the mound, hoping for some of that offense and his 6th straight win. Royals baseball is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. The Royals are home for a very short time, and then they head out for a week to the West Coast. They will begin a 3-game series tonight with the Cleveland Indians on a Fireworks Friday and a Buck night. And we welcome you to Kauffman Stadium with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefebvre, and the Royals just finished a road trip where 9 different hitters hit 300 or better. So who had the best road trip? How about Eric Hosmer, because he batted 4th?
When Eric Hosmer first came to the Royals, he batted 6th right in the lineup, and he just slowly have hit himself into that number 4 spot, and that's something you don't see many rookies do at the major league level.
And how often has a Royals rookie batted 4th in their long history going back to 1969? Well, if you use the measuring stick at 30 games or more, Hosmer is just the 3rd. Bob Hamlin, he won the Rookie of the Year in 1994. Billy Butler, who had a good rookie year in 2007, and now Eric Hosmer. And look at what he's done in just 39 games. Now, Mike Moustakas, who got off to a slow start, he is slowly putting his rookie season together.
I think Mike Moustakas is really learning the value of making adjustments at this level. What you've done in AAA always changes here, and he's made that adjustment, and he's off to a good start at this point.
It's always unfair to compare a rookie to an established player, let alone a Hall of Fame player, but even somebody like George Brett had his struggles, and in his first 68 games compared to Mike Moustakas. Moustakas at this point, and again, at this point, no big comparison, has done a little bit better than George Brett at the plate and in the field. Tonight, Bruce Chen goes for his 6th straight win, which includes a win against the Cleveland Indians in his last start against Justin Masterson, who pitches tonight. We'll talk about how Bruce won his last game when we come back. brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And Bruce Chen won when he faced the Indians in his last start, but it wasn't very easy, especially in the first inning.
That first inning was very difficult for Bruce Chen. After a walk with the bases loaded, he was able to come back and help himself out with a 1-2-3 double play.
And allowed just 1 run in 7 in the third innings. Very difficult to beat the same team in consecutive starts. And here's the lineup they'll face tonight.
Well, Ezekiel Carrera will start off for the Indians tonight. Kosuke Fukudome, 13 RBIs in his first 31 games. And all the way down to Jack Hanahan, who had a great August, 420 with 3 home runs and 13 runs batted in.
And a look at the Royals defensively behind Bruce Chen tonight.
Let's start with Alex Gordon in left field, who's playing really great. He got a .993 fielding percentage, that's the best in the AL. And on the infield, Alcides Escobar will be starting his 136th Major League leading game. And Bruce Chen going for win number 6, being called by Salvador Perez.
After a long trip and just 3 games at home, the Royals would like to get off to a fast start tonight against Justin Masterson. And the top 2 hitters hit .500 against him. We'll see what happens. The first pitch is coming up next. Definition brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no-fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. Out to left field, and let's welcome in Joe Goldberg.
Ryan, thanks. It seems like whenever we talk about Asdrubal Cabrera, it's his great numbers against the Royals, but against Bruce Chen, just .235 in his career. So I talked to Cabrera today and asked him why Bruce is so good, and he said he's just a really smart pitcher. He knows how to put the ball where he wants. He knows how to use the corners, and he's a guy that just can really, really frustrate you. He looks like he's easy to hit, but he changes all those arm angles. He said the approach for himself as well as all the Indians will be to try to go up the middle and don't swing too hard. If you get up there trying to kill it, you will go back to the dugout frustrated, guys.
All right, Joel, and maybe that was the Indians' undoing when they last faced Bruce on Sunday. He starts Ezekiel Carrera off with a strike. Indians had the bases loaded, nobody out, then a walk. So a run scored, bases loaded, still nobody out, and they were thinking big inning, but that ended up being the only run they scored against him all day. And 2 pitches, and that takes care of Carrera. A hot day in Kansas City, up over 100 degrees in some parts. It's cooled down to 91 for our first pitch, which is at 7:10. And the time and temp is brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. Now right fielder Kosuke Fukudome. And he is in right field. He has played right field quite a bit since coming over from the Chicago Cubs in a trade, and he will continue to play there as the Indians yesterday put Shin-Soo Choo on the disabled list with an oblique injury.
What a player to have out of your lineup in Choo. I mean, this is a guy that's their number 3 hitter and a run producer.
And that's driven to right field and over Jeff Francoeur, and off the chain link, Francoeur plays it perfectly. Fukudome reads it well and holds with a single.
You know, we've seen it all year with Royal outfielders playing balls off the wall. They don't fumble the ball. They seem to be able to get that good hop right off the wall and get the ball back to the infield quickly. And that ball's hit over Francoeur's head in right field. You say double all the way, but the way he played this ball off the wall, that really held Fukudome at first base.
And here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Bruce starts him off with a strike. He had 4 RBIs against the Royals last weekend in Cleveland, including a walk-off home run in Game 2. He does begin this series in a bit of a slump. 0 for his last 12 and just 1 for his last 16. Shallow right center, but Francoeur is there for the out. 2 down. The key report on Bruce Chen, making his 20th start, and really no individual numbers jump out except for his winning record of 10-5, thanks to winning his last 5 starts. Bruce had never won 4 in a row before this year, but 1 in Toronto. He won in Cleveland. Royals won 10 games in August. Bruce won 5 of those during his 5-game win streak, and that is the best month of his career. 19-9, and hopefully with the hot weather, Bruce will convince himself that it still is August.
Well, the one thing about Bruce is that his approach doesn't change. He tries to do the same things every time out, but he's got to have a good umpire behind the plate that's going to give him that corner on the inner and outer half.
1-1 to Carlos Santana. He walked with the bases loaded, nobody out in that start we were talking about on Sunday against Bruce Chen. That forced in the only run, and Bruce gave up just 1 and 7 in the 3rd. After that run in the 1st, from that point on, Bruce gave up 2 singles and a walk. He retired 13 of the last 15 Indians. Still 1-2 on Santana. Maniacta has stayed with Santana all year as their number 4 hitter, despite his .240 batting average. 12 home runs, 66 RBIs. That's low for an American League number 4 hitter this late in the season.
Well, and Joel had said that Asdrubal Cabrera said they're going to try not to swing hard against Bruce Chen, but that doesn't apply to Carlos Santana. He's got the same aggressive swing.
And another fly ball toward right field. Francoeur won't catch up to it. Fukudome to third base, and he'll be waved home. And once again, it's Santana driving in a run against Bruce Chen in the 1st inning, and Cleveland leads 1-0.
Well, Bruce is trying to live on the outer half, and Santana goes right out there with him and drives this ball into right center field. So maybe Bruce got to change his pattern a little bit, come inside a little bit more. been long since they've seen him. And you see Fukudome is able to score on Santana's double.
So he's at second base for Jim Thome. Thome returning to the Indians last weekend. And in the Saturday night game, hit a home run against Danny Duffy. And I think everybody that came out to see the Indians that weekend, and they had 3 very big crowds, all of them wanted to see a Jim Thome home run, and it was the Saturday night crowd that was rewarded with that.
Well, he's one of the few guys that are left in the game that every time he goes to the plate, you only think home run. You don't even think about base hit at all. And when he goes up there, especially the home crowd, everybody seems to stand up. Everybody's looking for the long ball, and he's one of the few guys left around that you think that every time he goes to the plate.
A little bit outside, 3 balls and 1 strike. Early in the month, middle of the month, became the 8th player in Major League history with 600 career home runs. With a 2 home run game at Detroit. Three and 2.
We got more and more pitchers want to work Jim Thome away because they don't feel like he's got the bat speed that he had once. But if you leave it out over plate and he catches it right, he's still strong enough to hit the ball out the left field. But not as many home runs that are pulled to right field anymore.
And this time a base hit to left field. Alex does everything he can to cut it off. Santana will score, and Cleveland has a 2-0 lead. So they have more runs against Bruce Chen tonight in 2/3 of an inning than they did on Sunday in 7 1/3 innings.
You know, one of the things that Bruce Chen hasn't done in this game is he hasn't established inside, and everything that Jim Thome was away. And like I say, all he has to do is get too much of the plate, and he's sitting there waiting on you. And he's got the ability still to drive that ball. Alex does an outstanding job of cutting this ball off and keeping it from going to the wall. And Santana scores easily.
0-1 to Shelley Duncan, another player who is getting more playing time because of an injury. The Royals and the Indians found out last weekend that Michael Brantley is done for the year. He'll be having surgery on a wrist. Their whole regular outfield is out. Grady Sizemore, their center fielder. Brantley in left. Shin-Soo Choo on the DL. Their regular DH, Travis Hafner, is out. And somehow the Indians are hanging in there. By their fingernails, but still hanging in there. It's been a successful season no matter what happens for them. They're 2 games above 500. 5.5 back of the Tigers. After this 3-game series here at Kauffman Stadium, they will go home and play 3 against Detroit. Fouled back, and it's still 1-2. So the Royals taking on the Indians, and the Tigers are taking on the White Sox. A lot of scoreboard watching tonight.
You'll probably get that scoreboard watching the entire month of September. Yeah, Salvador Perez does another outstanding job blocking the ball in the dirt. You can see right here where this ball hits in front of the plate, and he said balls in front of the plate you want to stay higher, and balls that block behind the plate you want to stay lower.
Fouled away again. Thanks to Bruce Chen, the Royals were not swept at Cleveland. They lost the first 2 games. And then Cleveland had a 4-game series with Oakland. They took 3 out of 4 from them, but lost yesterday. They were shut out by Gio Gonzalez of the A's and the A's bullpen. 7-0 and only had 5 hits. And Duncan goes down looking. The Indians get 2 in the first. Lineup tonight against right-hander Justin Masterson.
So Alex Gordon's going to lead things off. Eric Hoffer's been hot, 3 homers in the last 2 games for him. And Salvador Perez is back in the lineup at catcher.
Facing 6'6" Justin Masterson, and the Royals beat him on Sunday, although he only gave up 2 runs in 6 innings. Here's his Kia report: 10 wins, 2.83 ERA, which is the 4th best ERA in the league, but he's even better than that against the American League Central, 2.31 earned run average. And his turnaround actually began in the second half of last year. Got to the big leagues in 08. His ERA 4.41 until last year's All-Star break. And much like Luke Hochshaver this year during the All-Star break, started a turnaround. Alex grounds out as his bat sticks into the grass, and luckily it's just the grass on the right side. 1 away in the bottom of the first. Here are the Indians defensively tonight behind Justin Masterson.
We got Kosuke Fukudome. He's a valuable outfielder, can play all outfield positions for the Indians. And Asdrubal Cabrera, this is 133rd start at shortstop, 3 behind league leader Alcides Escobar. Justin Masterson, 6-4 on the road in 12 starts. And Lou Morrison is doing the catching tonight.
And a strike to Melky Cabrera on a pitch that appeared to be way outside. One ball, 1 strike. Melky with 5 doubles, a home run, 5 RBIs during the road trip. He is 10 out of 17 against Justin Masterson, and that ties for the most hits of any hitter against Justin Masterson. Masterson just cracked his bat. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, that's one thing that Justin Masterson does a lot of. He breaks a lot of bats with that heavy sinker. So if you don't get it square on the sweet spot of the bat, you got a chance to walk back and pick up another piece of wood.
And the new bat produces a ground ball to second. And Jason Donald throws him out, 2 down. The turnaround for Masterson last year at the All-Star break, some of it had to do with some magical words of advice from his pitching coach and former Royal Tim Belcher. And in today's statistics age, you think, well, what can you say to turn a guy around? We're so scientific these days, all the video. Tim Belcher simply said, Justin, I want you to throw the little white thing over the big white thing. Don't worry about hitting corners. Don't worry about manipulating the ball to get more movement. Just do what you normally do, but throw the little white thing over the big white thing. And for whatever reason, The light bulb went on for Masterson, and ever since the All-Star break last year, he's had an ERA just a little bit over 3.
Great advice. I think it's awful difficult for a guy with that kind of movement on his fastball to pitch to the corners. I think you throw your fastball down the middle and let it play.
Good inning in the first, 2 ground balls and a strikeout. Baseball is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. And by Chevy, see your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. 100 degrees in Kansas City today, mid-90s tomorrow, and then 80 degrees maybe on Sunday. So the cool down will begin. Carlos Santana and Jim Thome driving in runs for Cleveland in the first. And now Jason Donald begins the second inning with a base hit to right center. Melky cutting it off. Donald's going to test his arm, and he's in head first with a double.
I think one thing you see right now is Bruce is up in the zone and not over the plate, and I think the Indians have made a conscious effort to try to go with the pitch, and until Bruce starts to establish himself inside, they're going to go out there and try to take advantage of it. And it just drives the ball to right center field, and again, Melky does a great job of cutting this off, but his momentum takes him far enough in the right center field that Jason Donald's able to make it into second base. Ooh, look at that play.
Heads up, Alcides. And Hanahan rolls it to the right side. It's a productive out for him. Any kind of out with Hanahan at the plate lately is good news for the Royals, and he gets Donald over to third base, 1 out. That'll bring up the Indians' Iron Man, Lou Marson. On Wednesday, the Indians played a 16-inning night game with the Oakland A's. Lou Marson caught all 16 innings. Less than 12 hours after the conclusion of that game, they were playing their next game, a noon game, the very next day. Manny Acta went to Lou Marson and said, "Thanks for all your work last night. Don't worry about today." And Lou Marson said, "No, I'm in there." And he caught all 9 innings the very next day. So he caught 25 innings in about 20 hours.
Well, that's when you pay a strong visit to the cold tub. That's when you get that cold massage in the whirlpool, and then you get another rub down from the trainer, and then you sit down and you sleep with your legs up to get them ready for the next day.
Late on a fastball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. That game on Wednesday night ended at 12:06 a.m. The next game started at 12:05 p.m. So just fewer than 12 hours in between games. Still 1-2. Come celebrate Viva Los Royals, presented by Sprint tomorrow. The pregame party starts at 4:30. The game is at 6:10. You can enjoy live music from MRM and the first annual Salsa Showdown in the outfield experience. Plus, the first 20,000 fans receive a Joaquim Soria bobblehead. That is presented by Mission Foods tomorrow at 6:10. Grounded to Moustakas, and that'll hold Donald at third, 2 down.
This is really what you want with the infield end, runner on third base, less than 2 outs. You want the ball to the corner. Bruce throws a breaking ball. Martin rolls over on it, and Moustakas makes the play and keep the runner from scoring. And that's really good base running also by Donald. A lot of times he got going on contact, but a lot of managers don't play the going on contact, want the ball to go through. That's an important run. So you got to ask yourself, do you want him on third with 2 outs, or you want to run on first with 2 outs?
Ezekiel Carrera grounded out to Moustakas to begin the game. 1 ball and 1 strike. He is from Venezuela, and the player he's been compared to the most, also from Venezuela and played for the Royals for a brief time, Endy Chavez, which would suggest he is a good bunter, very little power, a slap hitter. 2 balls and 1 strike. Bruce Chen gave up 2 runs in the first inning and a leadoff double in the second, but that leadoff double, Jason Donald is at third with 2 outs. And now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Carrera.
Yeah, Carrera is really the third line of center fielders for the Indians this year. Grady Sizemore being number 1, then you went to Michael Brantley, who's hurt, and now you're down to Ezekiel Carrera, and he's really doing as good a job as you can expect from a rookie. He made a few mistakes in the series in Cleveland, but he's in a position where he's got to learn on the job.
Grounded to Escobar, and Chen gets around the leadoff double. 2-0 Indians to the bottom of the second. Billy Butler, Bruce Chen, who was 5-1. As Eric Hosmer leads off, or was it Greg Holland, who didn't allow any inherited runners to score in the month of August? 2 balls and no strikes on Hosmer. So 5 home runs, 14 RBIs for Alex, 24 RBIs for Billy. 3-0 on Hosmer, or the 2.7 ERA for Greg Holland. Also had a couple of saves, and the important statistic for him is holds as he sets up for Joakim Soria. 3-1 on Hosmer. Who would you say had the best August?
Well, with the premium on pitching and raw starting pitching, I'm going to go with Bruce Chen.
Fouled back by Hosmer, who also had a good August. He had a great road trip. 426 with 5 home runs and 7 RBIs. And he strikes out. That's the second strikeout for Masterson. So he's retired the first 4, striking out the last 2. And now he'll get Jeff Francoeur, fresh off his 1,000th career hit, a 2-run home run early in the game yesterday. Francoeur hit .359 during the road trip. And he goes the other way. Royals have their first runner, and their first runner will be in scoring position. 43 doubles for Jeff Francoeur. That ties him for the league lead with Ben Zobrist of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Man, Jeff really seems to have his best luck when he tries to go the other way. He doesn't try to pull the ball, and he's able to keep this ball fair down the line and gets down in the right field corner. And Fukudome plays it well, and Jeff Francoeur trots into second base with an easy double.
Now ball 1 to Mike Moustakas. 15-game hitting streak. That ties the Royals rookie record. David DeJesus in 2004 had 2 different 15-game hitting streaks. At the minimum here, wants to get a ground ball to the right side. 2 balls and no strikes. Moustakas with a 400 batting average during the road trip and 6 RBIs. Goes the other way, and it's 2-1. Our Sprint You Call It question for tonight: who had the best August? Alex Gordon, Billy Butler, Bruce Chen, Greg Holland. Our selections for tonight. What do you think, Joel?
Well, interesting that it was just released about 2 minutes ago that the media voted Alex Gordon and Bruce Chen as the pitcher and hitter of the month.
Nice play by Masterson to get Moustakas. Francoeur goes to third, 2 down.
But we have 4 choices here, and I think that it's Bruce Chen. I'm going to agree with Frank. There was a point when he had won 5 in a row there that he had 5 of the last Royals' 7 wins. So a stretch where the Royals were struggling, close games where they had won 7 games, and Bruce had been the starter in 5 of those. To me, it comes down to Gordon or Chen, and that's just a credit to how great they were. Because Butler, Holland, you mentioned Hosmer, all had really good months. There were a lot of guys, but it was a good month as far as stats goes. It just didn't necessarily lead to a lot of wins, although they were close.
Giavotella takes a strike. I'm going to agree with both of you guys and go with Bruce Chen just because of the need for starting pitching. Bruce, by the way, had lost 4 of 5 decisions before turning his season around and winning 5 in a row. Giavotella chops it to third. Should be an easy play for Hanahan, and that's the inning. At the end of 2-0 Cleveland. Thanks, Joel. Royals baseball is brought to you by the State of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. And by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. Warm night, 91 degrees at first pitch. 2-0 Cleveland Indians with 2 in the first inning against Bruce Chen. And then Bruce was able to work around a leadoff double in the second. Royals home for just 3. And then back out on the road. This is day number 11 of 20 games in 20 days. And 17 of the 20 away from Kauffman Stadium. Breaking ball is pulled foul into the seats. Fukudome with a 1-out single in the first inning, and he scored the first of 2 runs. As Drupal Cabrera after him, and then Carlos Santana. Off the knuckles, Giavotella sprinting out towards right, and it parachutes over his head, and Fukudome is 2 for 2.
Really not a bad pitch by Bruce right here. He's got to pitch inside, and Fukudome, you know, he's got that way of leaving early on his swing and got a little bit more to bat than Bruce wanted him to, and was able to fist it out over Giavotella in the right field. But that's something that Bruce, I think, is going to have to do throughout the game, is go inside, establish inside, and make his other pitches work better for him.
That's something you brought up in the first inning, as the Indians came up with 2 runs on 3 hits, that he wasn't pitching on the inside part of the plate, going away, and they were taking the ball the other way.
They were just waiting for him to make a mistake on the plate and driving it that way. And if you don't establish inside, if your pitcher like Bruce is not overpowering, then you got to work both sides of the plate, and each pitch has to set up the next pitch. And you saw right there, he started Fukudome off with a curveball, then he came back inside with a fastball and jammed it.
Fukudome has 1 stolen base, and he's been thrown out 3 times. So you hope that Bruce doesn't get too locked on him and forget about Cabrera, who flied out to right in the first inning, so he was trying to go the other way. And Perez threatening to throw down to first. He may have made contact with the home plate umpire, Jim Reynolds.
Well, the one thing he's got to do is, if you got an umpire that leans out over you and you're quick like Salvador Perez, is you got to let the umpire know, hey, I'm going to come up throwing, so you just got to be ready to back up when after I make the catch.
1 ball and 1 strike as he pitched inside on Cabrera. Cabrera has a .335 career average against the Royals, second only to his average against the Orioles, which is just .336. Had him off balance, and he hooks it foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes. .21 home runs this year for Cabrera. His career high before this year was 6. 2 years ago, he had what was regarded as a career season, so the Indians were expecting big things from him last year, but he had a collision with Johnny Peralta in May and broke his forearm. So he lost much of the 2010 season, but was able to pick up where he left off in 09 this year. Fukudome runs, and it's fouled off of Cabrera, who goes hobbling across the batter's box. He already has the shin guard on his front leg.
You see what Bruce Chen comes inside, and an inside pitch really is effective. I mean, that you don't see that very often right there. I mean, this off of his own knee. I mean, that's like, wow.
Jeez. I'm sure it hurts, but the shock of fouling a ball off there too.
I can't tell you what that experience is like. I never did do that.
That's got to rattle a guy. I mean, he's used to hitting off of his foot or his ankle or his shin, but above the knee? Wow. He's lucky he didn't foul it off of his kneecap, or they might have taken him off the field in an ambulance. I mean, if you just graze your kneecap on the side of the couch, you're going to go down in a heap.
Real quick.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, normally when you have a pitch like that inside and the batter fouls one off that bad, then a lot of times you go right back inside with another fastball, and a lot of times you get him to take that pitch.
Indians are not a running team. 73 stolen bases. That's 10th in the American League. They really don't have an offensive statistic that stands out. Everything in the lower half of the American League stats. They have been led by pitching this year. It's been a disappointing season, really, on offense for Manny Acta's team. And then now you factor in all the injuries. Grady Sizemore, Shin-Soo Choo, Travis Hafner, Michael Brantley. They recently sent Matt Laporta to the minor leagues. He was the centerpiece of the CC Sabathia trade with the Milwaukee Brewers a couple of years ago. And here they are, hanging in there and still have a chance in the Central Division. In the air to left field, deep. Alex Gordon is back at the fence. Almost made a great play, but it's into the bullpen for a 2-run home run. So that'll take the sting out of the foul ball for Cabrera. And the Cleveland Indians have a 4-0 lead in the 3rd inning.
Let me take a look. This stayed up. Middle in, and Cabrera was able to turn on it. Alex gets there and get in good shape. Oh, man. Just does miss that. Knows exactly where the wall is and tried to pull himself up on the wall and just missed it by a couple of inches.
Oh, man.
Man, what a great catch that would have been.
So 22 home runs for Cabrera, and that snaps an 0 for 13 for him. 2 in the first, 2 in the third for Cleveland, and now high and away to Carlos Santana. Santana doubled, and he went to the opposite field in the first inning. 1 ball and 1 strike, driving in a run, and then Santana scored on Jim Thome's base hit. Two and 1. Back to Chen, who makes a nice backhanded play. 1 out. We remind you to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in tonight's game. Jeff Francoeur with a Taste Greatness moment yesterday in Detroit with his 1,000th career hit, a home run. And he's made a good play tonight on defense, playing a ball off the chain link in right field and holding Fukudome to a single. Jim Thome, another base hit for the Indians in the first inning. That was to the opposite field, and he drove in Santana. No balls and 2 strikes. Jim Thome has 45 career home runs against the Royals. That would be the most of any player in history. To which I would say, having seen most of them, only 45.
He's real streaky.
That's with the Cleveland Indians. The complete total for him would be 49 home runs. He hit his 49th on Saturday against Danny Duffy. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bruce strikes him out, 2 down. Well, there are plenty of questions about the Royals' future, both current players and all those exciting minor league prospects. So it's a must to check FoxSportsKansasCity.com and learn what to expect. Steve Cameron looks closely at the situation facing the Royals and pitcher Bruce Chen, while Jeffrey Flanagan provides an update with his weekly minor league report. All at FoxSportsKansasCity.com. Ball 1 to Shelley Duncan. Bruce struck him out looking to end the first inning. Got him looking at a fastball. 2-0. Broken bat. Escobar cuts it off, throws him out. The Indians get 2 more on the Asdrubal Cabrera home run. Native Henry Block, a true Kansas City philanthropist, also served in World War II. He co-founded H&R Block to become the world's largest tax services company. And one of Henry's most significant contributions was the creation of the Block Scholars Program in 2001, which has transformed the lives of nearly 1,000 low-income urban students and allowed them to go to college. And he is sitting in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat at tonight's game. Royals have their work cut out for him tonight, down 4-0, and facing Justin Masterson, who's had 2 very good innings. 1 ball and 1 strike on Salvador Perez. Hit .375 on the trip with 5 RBIs. Injured himself late in the game on Wednesday. He had his right pinky bent backward, and the way he came off the field on Wednesday was a bit of a concern for the Royals, but only had to miss 1 game. Back in there tonight, and that's another good play on the mound for Justin Masterson. 1 down in the bottom of the 3rd. Alcides Escobar. He had a tough road trip at the plate. 35 at bats and hit just 171. And quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. And Escobar just 1 out of 12 against Masterson, but he's not alone there. With that arm angle and his size and that movement, you could see how he would be a handful for right-hand batters, and they just barely hit 200 against him. Got his glove on it and then throws it away. Fukudome charging in from right field to back it up. So he had it go off of his glove and then tried to make a blind throw over to first base, and there was no chance for Santana.
And it's really a tough play for a pitcher. They're not used to making this play. And if you can't set your feet and make a good throw, then you might as well just eat the ball and keep the runner at first base. And Escobar was able to see the ball go by him. You see Masterson gets the ball. His back is completed at first base. He never really gets himself set. That's an arm angle that he's not used to throwing at. And, you know, that's where your real infielder's got to say, hold it. But as Dribble Cabrera, maybe that foul ball did a lot more damage than we thought.
Just what the Indians need is another injury. And Cabrera hit a foul ball off of his left leg just above his knee when he batted in the 3rd inning. He eventually hit a 2-run home run. So this is the foul ball in the top of the 3rd.
You know, they might have hit the top of the kneecap.
And then did he do something on this play?
And he broke to his left and then went automatically right into a limp right there.
So I guess after the adrenaline rush faded away following the home run in the top of the 3rd and doing some standing around on defense, realized that he couldn't go. That's Jason Donald. He goes from second base over to short, and Cord Phelps is now at second base. Ball 1 to Alex Gordon. By the way, that's an infield single for Escobar, and then he goes to second on the air by Masterson. So a hit and an error. Alex grounded out to short in the 1st inning. 2 balls and no strikes. Alex and 3 others, the subject of tonight's Sprint You Call It question, who had the best month of August. 42% going with Alex. Frank, Joel, and I went with Bruce Chen. There really isn't a wrong answer with those 4.
You're right about that. Great months for everybody.
Alex on the road trip hit .405 and had 3 home runs. Leads the Royals with 19 home runs. Good pitch by Masterson on 3-0. So Phelps is tested right away and throws out Alex. 2 down. Escobar goes to third base. So a quick homestand, 6:10 tomorrow night, and then Sunday at 1:10. It's another family fun day and an autograph afternoon on Sunday. There will be live entertainment, face painters, and an autograph session with select Royals alumni and special guest SpongeBob SquarePants. That's coming up on Sunday before the 1:10 game. Well, Phelps is properly initiated into the game as he handles 2 ground balls, and the Royals are scoreless in the 3rd. To the fourth inning, and we'll look at the wideband internet pitch speeds brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Up to 50 megabits per second of pure online power. Bruce Chen up to 90 miles an hour tonight, but down 4-0 as he works in the fourth inning, and we go down to the dugout suites on the first base side and check in with Joel.
All right, well, we've got a lot of alumni down here, Ryan, and we'll probably be getting some taunting going on from behind us from Willie Wilson. Willie Aikens is back there. He'll be pleasant. He won't give us a hard time. Willie will, though. But Big John can defend us. John Mayberry is here. And always fun to hang out with the guys and gals.
That's right. You know, Willie and two Willies are always against me. You know, they think I'm getting too old now. So I got to kind of let them know, let them remember who I am.
Well, that wasn't a good start, John.
Well, you know, he looked like he's having trouble, you know, locating his pitches and getting pitches out over the plate, and guys are getting extended and hitting the ball hard.
We could have Frank analyze that home run, but maybe we'll just talk about fantasy camp. How about that? End of January, early February. I was able to participate in 08, and no one has more fun than John Mayberry, right?
Exactly right. You know, I was out shoveling my snow in late January, and it was about 6 inches on the ground. I say, Lord, you done blessed me with a fantasy camp. Got on the plane, went to Arizona, and had the time of my life. Met new people, new ball players, and just told stories. And it seemed like every year we go down there, we remember something else. So the fantasy camp to me is just a time where the camaraderie come together and just have a great time in baseball.
Well, everybody has a good time, and the campers are playing, and you're coaching every single day, and even the coaching, you guys get pretty competitive with each other.
Well, no question about it. You know, we always like to beat George Brett's team and Jeff Montgomery's team, and they like to beat us, but my coaching staff is, well, I'm the coach, and Frank White's the manager. You know, I got fired down there as a coach. I think I was 2-7, and so Frank was working in Wichita, you know, in baseball, so he took another job where he can go down in fantasy camp. So he took over the managing job. He won 2 championships.
It kind of reminds me of what you said when I was there, when you were playing first base. The last day you play against the campers, you're playing first, and he's playing second, and there's a pop-up to first base, and you did what?
Frank. I mean, I did that from day one, you know, and it saved me about 5 years on my career, I believe. You know, Frank, I always tell people that Frank played first and second.
You got Ryan and Frank laughing. Willie Wilson's laughing like he's heard this 100 times. That's another thing. I mean, when you get to listen in the clubhouse to the stories and get Willie Wilson and Big John Mayberry going, that could be pretty entertaining.
You know, I've always wished I had Willie's speed, and Willie wished I had my power. I said, heck, we'd be Mickey Mantle then. So, you know, we talk about what we could have did, should have did, and would have did, and some things we wish we could do over, and some things we were proud of what we did. But we just like to pass it along, and sometimes we can say some things to some of the campers who coach their teams back home, and might, you know, get serious a little bit and talk about hitting and talk about running the bases, and we give instructions too.
It's the most fun week that anyone could ever have. The stories, the playing, the camaraderie, the friendship, and all of that. And 816-504-4150 for people that want more information. And again, it is January 30th through February 3rd. It's a great time, and all the alumni are out there. Now, let me ask you a couple quick. We got 2 outs, but impressions of the Royals. We're watching a first baseman. I know that's a position that you always have your eye on. Thoughts on Eric Hosmer?
Hey, you know, I saw Eric when he first signed, and he was a competitive player when he signed, and he reminds me a lot of myself because I was a first baseman my whole life, and looks like to me he's been playing first base for a long time, and he looks like it the way he moves and save errors, and I think he's going to be an all-star one year, and who knows, he might be the guy that kind of carries us to the world. He's a great guy to have a nucleus of a ball club with.
All right, Big John, always a pleasure. One of our favorite guests. Royals down 5-0. We've got more coming up from Kauffman Stadium.
is proud to be the official soft drink of the Royals and the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. Look for Pepsi Max at your neighborhood Hy-Vee food store. Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. So the Indians have scored in 3 of 4 innings. And so far, the Royals have only 2 hits against Justin Masterson, who has 2 strikeouts, and he struck out Billy Butler on 3 pitches in the first inning. Two balls and 1 strike. Billy Butler, Eric Hosmer, Jeff Francoeur in the 4th. And Billy takes one under the chin and all the way back to the advertising panel behind home plate.
Well, this is one pitch you really don't expect from Justin Masterson. He got underneath that fastball and got it up and in on Billy. Your mind is geared from the knee down with him on a sinker baller, so that's always a shock to a right-handed hitter when that pitch gets away.
So how badly do you want to dig in? And Billy takes one back to the advertising panel again. Jim Reynolds, home plate umpire, going out in front of home plate to give Masterson another ball. And the way things have been the last several years, I would have been surprised, not that surprised though, if there had been some sort of a warning, but there's no reason for Masterson to be throwing at Billy Butler.
Well, you take a look at the first few pitches, they were down in the zone, and all of a sudden it's up and in with this fastball, and now he loses this release point again, and this is right at the belt.
Hosmer grounds to first, out at second base, and a double play. 3-6-3. 2 down in the 4th inning.
Now we take a look at this right here. Santana does a good job of getting a nice throw down the Donald shortstop, and back to Santana to complete the double play.
So Hosmer 0 for 2 against Masterson. Jeff Francoeur doubled up the right field line with 1 out in the 2nd inning. Ball 1 down and away. 43 doubles for Jeff Francoeur. That's a career high by 3, and it ties him for the league lead in that category. At the knees, 1 ball, 1 strike. Broken bat, and Hanahan to the hole on the left side. 3 come to the plate for the Royals in the 4th, and they're down 5-0. behind a 2-run home run from Asdrubal Cabrera, who had to leave the game because of an injury, and behind 4 very good innings from Justin Masterson.
Well, he's got that heavy sinker working and a good slider going, getting his ground balls, breaking some bats. And, you know, Bruce Chen probably wishes that Asdrubal Cabrera would have left after he fouled that ball off his knee, and it would have saved him a couple runs right there.
Jason Donald also has a home run. Carlos Santana and Jim Thome have driven in runs. This is Cord Phelps, who came on in the bottom of the 3rd inning after Asdrubal Cabrera had to leave the game. Fouled a ball off the top of his left knee, maybe, when he batted in the top of the 3rd, and then hit a 2-run home run in the same at bat. But 2 batters into the bottom of the 3rd pulled himself out of the game. So Phelps went in at second, and Jason Donald moved over to short. Two balls and 2 strikes. Carlos Santana on deck, then Jim Thome. Cord Phelps out of Stanford University, 3rd-round pick of the Indians in 2008. Giavotella throws him out, 1 away in the 5th. Cord Phelps replacing Asdrubal Cabrera in the lineup tonight.
It's time to play Name That Cabrera. Is it Asdrubal or Melky? Who has the most career home runs?
Melky.
Melky. Asdrubal. All right. Nice job, Frank. That's part 1. No balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Santana.
Name That Cabrera round 2. Is it Asdrubal or Melky? Who leads their team in total bases?
I'll go Asdrubal.
Asdrubal. Santana hit by a pitch, so he's down to first with 1 out. That was on an 0-2 pitch. Alex Gordon leads the Royals in total bases. We're 2 out of 2, Frank.
All righty.
Would you like to quit now and take home the microwave, or do you want to go for 3 and shoot for the car?
I'll shoot for the car.
I'll shoot for the car, too.
Name That Cabrera round 3. Who has been hit by a pitch the most times this season? Asdrubal or Melky?
Asdrubal.
I'm going to go with Asdrubal, too. I don't remember Melky getting drilled many times this year. Wow.
What is the car?
It's one of those little Matchbox cars. Jim Thome singled to left center, drove in a run in the 1st, and then Bruce struck him out in the 3rd. 2 balls and 1 strike. That was our AT&T trivia question for tonight. And when we were in Detroit, we had a similar version with Miguel Cabrera and Melky Cabrera. 3 balls and 1 strike on Thome. On the ground to Hosmer. Steps on the bag. No play at second base. Santana moves up 90 feet. 2 outs in the 5th inning. Hey fans, Taco Bell is helping Boys and Girls Club teens go to college with the Graduate to Go program. Log on to graduatetogo.com to learn more. Now Shelly Duncan, who is 0 for 2 so far tonight. Saved by Perez. 1 ball and no strikes. 2-0. Last time Bruce Chen gave up more than 3 earned runs in a start was well over a month ago. July 27th at Boston. He gave up 10 runs in 4 innings. And then over his next 6 starts, 3 earned runs or less, going 5-1 during that stretch. Bruce has not lost a game in exactly 1 month. It was 1 month ago tonight when he lost to the Orioles. 5 wins in a row, but down 5-0 in the 5th inning. Three and 1. Duncan jumps back into the batter's box. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That's the same pitch that Bruce Chen struck Shelly Duncan out on his previous at bat. I think the Indians' eyes are out over the plate and not really on the inside corner.
And that's down and in, ball 4. So 2 free runners in the inning. Santana hit by a pitch. Duncan walks. And 2 on for Jason Donald, and all he's done is double and homer in his first 2 at-bats.
I had a talk with Jason Donald before the game and asked him where does he prefer to play, and he said, you know, there's 8 positions I'll play just to be on the field. He said second base is okay, but anywhere on the field I'm happy with, as long as I can get my at-bats and help the team win.
Out of play, no balls and 1 strike. And getting a chance to play now with Jason Kipnis on the disabled list.
And this is a home run. Just out over the plate. He does a good job just staying back and using his hands. And even his first at bat, the ball he drove to right center field, the same. He doesn't get out front very often, but it seems like he's got a compact swing and he's maximizing his swing pretty much all the time.
It's his first home run of the year. He started the season on the disabled list. He was hit by a pitch in spring training, hit by the White Sox Gavin Floyd. Broke the middle finger on his left hand. So trying to finish strong, and he is finishing strong. He has an 8-game hitting streak. One of the players coming over from the Phillies to the Indians in 2009 in the trade that sent Cliff Lead to Philly. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Two on, 2 out, 1 and 2 on Donald. Just missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tonight isn't the first night that Jason Donald has had good swings against Bruce Chen. If you add up all of his numbers, including tonight, he is 6 out of 9 with 2 home runs. So he has a little trouble picking up the ball out of Bruce Chen's hand. He has doubled to right center field and homered to left. So Bruce has pitched him away. He has gone the other way, pitched him in, and he's hit a home run. That is fouled into the Indians' dugout. It is so difficult, whether you're talking about a great pitcher, a good pitcher, or a mediocre pitcher, to have very good back-to-back starts against the same team.
Unless you just really change your whole pitching pattern. And you just try to do something that you didn't do in your last start that would give you an edge. But if you try to do the same thing, nibble on the corners, then they just mainly they just wait for you to make a mistake at that point. But just establishing an inside, changing what you do is the only way you can get it. When you're right, it is tough, but you got to make some adjustments.
Bruce gets Jason Donald this time to the bottom of the 5th. 5-0 Cleveland. Masterson, who really doesn't need a lot of help on the road. Here's our league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And with his 4 scoreless innings tonight, Justin Masterson has the lowest road ERA among American League starters. The Royals coming off a very productive road trip at the plate. They hit .325 as a team. They had 4 games with 16 hits or more, but so far tonight they have run into a wall. And Masterson has allowed a double, a single, and a walk in his first 4 innings. One and 2 on Mike Moustakas. Grounded back to Masterson in the second inning. 15-game hitting streak, so a base hit tonight, and the Recchi, that's when you say rookie and Royals at the same time. The Royals rookie record will belong to him. And we'll give him the Recchi while we're at it. Slice to left and slicing back into the seat. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. 6 RBIs for Moustakas on the road trip, and 3 of those last weekend against the Indians, and they were all clutch hits. All 3 RBIs coming with 2 outs. Three and 2. Johnny Giavotella is next, followed by Salvador Perez. Off the knuckles and to Santana. Coming up on Tuesday, September 13th, the Royals take on the Minnesota Twins at 7:10. That's our next T-shirt Tuesday. And the first 10,000 fans receive this Royals fan vote T-shirt presented by Fox Sports Kansas City, a long sleeve T-shirt as we get ready for the fall and winter. Fall one to Johnny Giavotella. Masterson got Giavotella on a ground ball to third in the second inning. 2-0. At a play, 2-1. Giavotella hit just .237 on the trip, but he had 7 RBIs and had his best series with the glove during the Detroit series. That would be a strikeout of Masterson to Johnny Giavotella and his third. The scoreboard and everybody else, we had the count 2 balls and 1 strike, and Giavotella looked a little confused before he left the batter's box. So maybe like us, he was unaware that there were 2 strikes in the count.
He looked stunned.
I mean, it's one thing being hard on a rookie, but he's still entitled to 3 strikes, isn't he? Past Masterson and into center field. Salvador Perez has a 2-out single, trying to go up the middle against Masterson, and he grounded out to the mound in the third. And now he's at first with 2 down. So here's the first pitch to Giavotella. An appeal, and there's the strike.
Well, maybe he just didn't like the location of the third pitch that was called a strike.
Escobar hit a ground ball off of Masterson's glove that rolled in between the mound and the third baseline, and then Masterson with a blind throw toward first, and he threw it past Santana, and Escobar advanced to second on the play, got to third in the inning, but was stranded. Way outside. That's the third time that he's thrown one to the screen in the last 2 innings. This one comes with a man on base, so it's a wild pitch getting Perez to second base.
I think you see Justin Master just held on to this pitch way too long, and Lou Marston didn't have an opportunity to make the adjustment. That's the one thing about an arm angle like Masterson has. You got to really work hard to maintain that consistent release point.
And drilled to left field. Here comes Perez around third base. So the Royals tonight have 4 hits against Masterson. 2 have come from Alcides Escobar, and he gets the Royals on the board.
Well, Justin Masterson sort of manufactured this run himself with a wild pitch, and got Salvador Perez in scoring position, and Alcides Escobar gets a base hit to left, and Salvador Perez was able to score on that base hit.
So a start for the Royals, and now third time through as Alex Gordon bats with Escobar at first, 2 down, and with Escobar running, fly ball to center, and Carrera runs it down. Alex is 0 for 3. The Royals get 1 in the 5th. Brought to you by Thoroughbred Ford. Find the new Ford F-150 you're looking for at thoroughbredford.com. Warm night in Kansas City on September the 2nd. And Bruce Chen, who hasn't lost in exactly 1 month, has been hit around by the Cleveland Indians. He's allowed 5 runs, 8 hits in 5 innings. And just this past Sunday, Bruce went 7 1/3 innings, beating the Indians in Cleveland, and he gave up just 1 run. So 5 runs, 8 hits, and Jack Hanahan has nothing to do with it. Hanahan has 36 RBIs this year, and 13 have come against the Royals. He has grounded out to the right side twice tonight. Down, no balls and 2 strikes. That didn't take very long. Hanahan is 0 for 3, and the Royals might stop the fountains over that. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre with Frank White and Joel Goldberg at Kauffman Stadium with producer Kevin Schenk. Our director tonight is Dean Andrick. Our associate producer is Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. It is 2 balls and no strikes on Lou Marson. Reno.
I don't want to take this opportunity to say hi to a Royals fan of ours and the Royals, and his family's a big fan of the Royals. Chuck Pritchett, who was really stationed at Luke Air Force Base in Surprise, and then he was transferred to Dice Air Force Base in Abilene about a year ago, and where he will be retiring in a couple of years. He said his family lives here in Kansas City. He watched all of our broadcasts. He watches all of our broadcasts via satellite from Abilene. So today's his son Landon's first birthday, and he wanted us to say happy birthday to Landon, and that's what we want to do. Say, Landon, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Landon. Lifted to center. Playable for Melky. 2 up, 2 down in the 6th inning. Marson is 0 for 3. Don't forget, every Wednesday is Ink Student Night and Local Music Showcase. You'll get a $7 game ticket, pregame happy hour specials, and enjoy one of KC's best bands. Coming up on September 14th, music from Roman numerals before the Royals take on the Minnesota Twins at 3:10. Wednesday, September 14th. Ezekiel Carrera is 1 out of 3 tonight. Put an end to an 0 for 11 with a single to left field in the 4th inning. A little bit inside, 2-1. Bruce trying to turn in back-to-back scoreless innings for the first time tonight. He allowed 2 in the first, had a scoreless second, 2 more in the third, 1 in the fourth. Worked around a hit batter and a walk in the 5th. He's also going for his first 3 up, 3 down inning. Full count on Carrera. Chopped to short, and there is the first 3 up, 3 down inning for Bruce Chen.
Well, the Indians are ahead of the Royals 5-1 as we go into our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Grace Quo from Kansas City, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Grace will win $2,000. But if they hit a grand slam out of the park, Grace will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
And some power coming up for Grace. Melky Cabrera, Billy Butler, Eric Hosmer. And if anybody gets on, Jeff Francoeur. But this is not the guy to sit back and hope for a big game with home runs. Justin Masterson has allowed 6 home runs this year in 192 innings. 6.
And that's pretty impressive since he plays in a park where home runs are a lot easier to hit, especially the right center field over to the right field line.
That's a fair ball. And it's a long run for Duncan. And an easy double for Cabrera. So Melky 1 double away from 40.
Yeah, sinker going down and away, and everything was gone except for his hands. He kept those back and was able to get the ball right down the line. Just really sliced this ball right inside the third base bag.
And the Indians were not prepared for that. Hanahan was way off the line. They thought that Melky was going to pull the ball.
But when they face sinker ballers, you're better off to try to hit them the other way. Just try to take the pitches on the inner half so you don't jam yourself and wait for them to get a ball out over the plate.
Masterson misses away, ball 1.
Well, this Sonic Slam inning, we're looking for Grace and we're looking for power. We had Grace with that swing that Melky put down the line, and there's power with Billy Butler at the plate.
Wow, Frank, that's rather artistic of you. You can't teach those sort of things. You're either born with it or you're not. A little bit high. 2-0 to Billy. He struck out on 3 pitches in the first inning and then walked in the 4th and was nearly hit by the last 2 pitches in that plate appearance. So we'll see how comfortable he is digging in there against Masterson this time around. Good swing, and he lines it to center field, and Carrera misplays it into a base hit. Well, we saw that from Carrera last weekend in Cleveland.
Just a lot of rookie mistakes, and you know, most of them have involved coming in and reading the ball off the bat right directly at him. And Billy hits his ball. If he stays exactly where he's at, he makes his catch. But he went back on it, and the ball sank right in front of him, and he was just was fortunate to keep his ball in front of him.
We haven't seen a lot of him, but it appears that he has difficulty with balls hit right at him. So here's the opening the Royals have been looking for tonight. And it's Eric Hosmer with 2 on and nobody out. 10-game hitting streak. Tonight, he is struck out and grounded into a double play. Two balls and no strikes. Masterson trying to keep it down, hoping for another ground ball and a double play.
You know, Cabrera seems like one of those guys trying to play him a little deeper and say, look, just worry about coming in, because he plays deep and then he goes back and has trouble readjusting to the ball in front of him. That's probably a good move by Tim Belcher right here. I mean, this is a pitch. This is a ball that should have been caught. And I just want to settle Masterson down. He made a good pitch. Cabrera gets the ball right inside the bag, and then he gets an out, a presumed out, and the ball falls in front of Cabrera in center field. So this is more of a let's get back on the game and not worry about what's happened previous to this next pitch that's going to happen.
Three balls and no strikes. Hosmer with a hit tonight will tie his career high, an 11-game hitting streak. And that first 11-game hitting streak ended for him at the end of July. Swinging on 3-0. So he just didn't quite get it. Both runners tagging. Only one will advance. And Billy Butler had given up on moving up to second base. So he stays at first. Hosmer drives in his 61st, and it's a 5-2 game.
You know, that's one of those situations there where Billy Butler's a runner on first base. You go back, you tag, and you can go out quite a ways and see what happens with this throw. And if he does miss the cutoff man and there's nobody back here, you can't go. So you see Billy tags, and the throw's already, I'm sorry, the Cabrera tags at third, but the throw is overthrown at second base. And so we see Billy's already back. He tags here, breaks. Now he can stay there now, but he decided to go back a little too soon. So you just freeze and see where the throw is. Then if it's high, you might have a chance to get back in there.
So he was assuming that was going to be a good throw.
Yes, yes.
Before he realized it was a bad throw. No balls and 2 strikes to Francoeur. He doubled in the second inning, giving him 43 and tying him for the league lead, and then grounded out in the fourth.
You can see how much confidence manager Ned Yost has in Eric Hosmer. Let him hit 3-0 right there. I mean, he just did miss hitting that ball out of sight. So he picked a good pitch, and that's all you want to do in 3-0 is get a good pitch to hit.
Francoeur down on 3 pitches. Masterson has his 4th. 2 outs. And now Moustakas, who is grounded back to the mound and lined to first. He has a 15-game hitting streak. Hit to right field. Didn't quite get it. So Masterson able to get out of all that, allowing just 1 run. Scores from around the American League. Yankees in front of Toronto in the bottom of the 8th. They're a half game back of Boston. Detroit has already defeated Chicago. Justin Verlander improves to 21-5. Texas out in front of Boston. That's good news for New York. Tampa Bay has defeated, or Baltimore has defeated Tampa Bay. 12 losses for David Price. Minnesota at Los Angeles later tonight. Seattle will be at Oakland. And it's a Chevy call to the bullpen for the Royals as Everett Tieford takes over in the 7th inning. 6 innings for Bruce Chen. Gave up 5 runs, 8 hits, and now he can only hope for a no decision as the Royals are trying to inch their way back into the game, falling behind 5-0 in the 4th, and now they've scored runs in the 5th and 6th. So Tieford trying to hold the Indians right where they are. Outside to Kosuke Fukudome, 2 hits, 2 runs scored for the Indians right fielder. And that's what he will be for at least 2 weeks with Shin-Soo Choo on the disabled list. That's a foul ball. Home plate umpire Jim Reynolds didn't pick it up right away, but Fukudome hit that ball twice. And now he's explaining to Ned Yost that one of the other umpires called it a foul ball. So Jim Reynolds, he didn't see the second contact. He just saw the ball roll out in front of the plate. He did not make a call, but the other 3 umpires saw it. 3 hits for Fukudome. And now Tiford will get Cord Phelps. Came into the game defensively in the bottom of the 3rd for Asdrubal Cabrera, who fouled a ball off of his left knee in the 3rd inning, and then in the same at bat hit a 2-run home run, but in the next half inning came out with a left knee contusion. And Phelps hits it up the right field line and just foul.
I kind of thought right there with Phelps and not really swinging the bat that well. I thought Indians manager Manny Active might have had him sacrifice in this situation and bring up the middle of his order. But he got jammed pretty bad on that fastball, so maybe that would say, hey, you know, maybe I need to do something a little different right here.
He's batted once and grounded out to second base. He has 1 sacrifice bunt since joining the Indians, playing in just his 26th game tonight. And he does square around and takes low. 1 ball, 1 strike. So the best the Indians can hope for tonight is to pass or stay ahead of Chicago in the standings. Chicago losing to Detroit. They have dropped to 6.5 back. Indians will play the Tigers in a 3-game series after this 3-game series in Kansas City. And now Phelps fouls the bunt away, and he's down 1-2. Bunting has gotten so bad in the game that I wonder how disappointed managers are when they don't get the bunt down, because there are so few good bunters in the game today.
They've got to be disappointed, especially when you're in a pennant race and every run counts, and fundamentals are really the thing that's going to help you down the stretch anyway. Defense, offense, and when you have a hitter at the plate that can't get those things done, then you just, I don't know what they can do about it. I mean, it's just all over the game, man. I mean, you have pitchers in the National League who don't hit, that are better bunters than guys that hit every day, and guys that should know. If you play in the middle of the infield of any ball club, you should know how to bunt.
And Phelps strikes out, and the last place he wants to go to now is his own dugout. Fukudome at first with 1 out. Good comeback for Tiford. Mizzou football returns tomorrow on Fox Sports Kansas City. It's the season opener as the Tigers take on Miami of Ohio at 11 a.m. here on Fox Sports Kansas City, your home for the Big 12. Now Carlos Santana, he had an RBI double and a run scored in the Indians' 2-run first. And since then he has grounded back to the mound, and he's been hit by a pitch. 0-1. You know, with some guys, it's not just the inability to get the bunt down, but the technique. I mean, every now and then you're just going to fail on a bunt attempt because you got to pitch it at some late movement, or maybe just trying to be too fine, and it's rolls foul off the line or you pop it in the air. But for me, it's just the technique shows that guys just aren't working on bunting.
And really, you got to want to be a sacrifice guy anyway. You got to know the situation when you go to the plate. You got to know when you're in the on-deck circle what may happen in this situation. So prepare yourself mentally to get it done. But like you say, going back to spring training, just getting it, trying to figure it out.
Escobar will play it to first. Santana is out. Fukudome moves up to second. 2 away.
And when you look at it, bunting, when does bunting occur? Bunting usually occurs from the 7th to the 9th inning, usually it's with the game on the line. Either you're trying to get an additional run or you're trying to catch up in a close ball game with maybe runners at first and second or whatever it might be. So that's when the bunt is so crucial. And if a manager has players that they can't depend on that situation, you're just going to lose a lot of ball games.
For the most part this year, the Royals have been dependable with the bunt. They have the most successful sacrifice bunts in the American League. And as the old saying goes, you are what you practice. And the Royals the past couple of years have practiced their bunting quite a bit in spring training.
It's been part of their routine, everyday routine in spring training. And, you know, Rusty Kuntz, John Watson, you know, those guys really are the guys that really run that bunting station throughout spring training. So every day, these guys get a lot of bunting in.
On the topic of sacrifice bunts, associate producer Al Broughton has informed us that Jim Thome has won in his career. And it was 17 years ago. He grounds out to second base, and Tiefert gets around the leadoff single. Cleveland in front 5-2. Royals have scored in the last 2 innings. Remember, you can secure your priority to the 2012 All-Star Game with 2012 season tickets. It's the only way to make sure you are part of Kansas City history. And for details, go to Royals.com/2012. Two runs, 6 hits for the Royals, and 6 innings against Justin Masterson, going for his 11th win of the year and his 3rd win against the Royals. Johnny Giavotella is 0 for 2 and hit hard, but on the ground to Donald at short. 1 away. Santana held onto the ball long enough, according to first base umpire Mike DeMuro. Jared Head, who made his big league debut last weekend against the Royals out of Topeka, Hayden High School and Washburn University. He takes over in left field for Shelley Duncan. And as we told you last weekend, he was a Royals fan, so he has spent many days and nights here cheering for the Royals in the seats, and now on the field going up against the Royals. And Perez hit by a pitch, and that got him right on the elbow. So he's coming back from the bruised finger, which caused him to miss yesterday, and now plunked on the arm.
Well, that's not going to feel too good right there. I mean, that is right, like you say, right on the elbow, and that's when they give you that sick feeling right in the middle of your stomach.
With his delivery, and I'm talking about Masterson, his delivery and his arm angle and his movement, you could see where from time to time a pitch like that is going to get away from him. He almost drilled Billy Butler a couple of times in the 4th inning.
Yeah, it looks like it's all release point. He gets that arm way out there, and everything's got to come together perfectly.
Now a bunt by Escobar. Hanahan. Wow, nice play. And Escobar injured, slamming his helmet into the grass, and Santana limps away from first base. So you got both trainers coming out of both dugouts. It appears that Escobar got the worst of it.
When you take a look at it, Hanahan makes a nice play, and you get it down close to first base, and Santana's got way too much foot on the bag, and you see where Escobar stepped right on his foot, and that causes a twisted ankle. He's got to have that foot. Look where his foot is. I mean, he's lucky he didn't get a broken ankle, but that's what you call a catcher playing first base and not knowing exactly where he's at, but he cannot have that much foot on the bag in that situation there.
Wow. Well, you're right. Escobar got the worst of it, but and realizing that Santana's foot shouldn't have been there, that might have been Escobar in frustration slamming his helmet to the grass.
Well, I'm sure it was, and I mean that's one of those situations where you should have a double injury with Escobar twisting the ankle, and really Santana put himself into a situation where he could have had an Achilles cut, or he could have had a twisted ankle himself.
And the actor says, okay, go dance around a little bit, do a couple of pirouettes, prove to me that you're all right.
You know, the bunt play, he's got time to get there and get that right foot on the bag and on the inside corner. I mean, he shouldn't have any problems with this bunt. He's sending it right there by the bag, so he should have been able to get his feet in the right spot. So I don't know why he has so much foot on the bag right there. It should be on the inside part of the first base. You see, Escobar looks back in frustration, and then he slams his helmet down.
Well, lost of it on that play was a good play by Hanahan. It's a pretty good bunt by Escobar and required a good play. Perez, who was hit by a pitch, moved up to second. And 2 down to Alex Gordon. No balls and 1 strike. That's only 81 pitches thrown by Masterson. He's gotten Alex on a ground ball to short, a ground ball to second, and a fly out to center. One and one. Alex with 3 home runs and 11 RBIs against the Cleveland Indians this year. Two balls and 1 strike.
Masterson trying to really jam Alex up inside. He broke his bat his first at bat and really jammed him on a short fly to center field in his second at bat. But Alex wants that that sinker to move out over the plate so he can try to drive it the other way, but they're trying to really crowd it.
2-2. And maybe thinking about triggering early there, and Masterson goes with a backdoor slider.
That could be confusing, you know, to a hitter right there to get the backdoor slider after getting pounded inside with the fastball.
Drilled to deep center field. Back goes Carrera. It is gone. Way gone. Alex Gordon with a 2-out, 2-run home run. That turns the game around. Royals are down by 1.
We got another example of just how strong Alex Gordon is when he really connects on a fastball. You know, Masterson left his pitch out over the plate, down a little bit, and this is what Alex did with it. I mean, when you see this ball is over the first wall, the second wall, the third wall, then it bounces up in the water.
And that's hit well to center field, and Carrera makes a nice play running into the padding to get Melky Cabrera. Royals have scored in 3 straight innings, and they made it a 1-run game. Royals have fought back, and thanks to our Chevy play of the game, the Royals are down by 1 to the 8th inning.
That's Alex Gordon after Salvador Perez was hit by a pitch. He got himself in a good situation, got a good pitch to hit, and you can see right there, his ball went over everything. He eventually bounced up right into that corner, right into the water. That's a bomb.
Alex with 20 home runs as a big leaguer for the first time. His career high is 16. Chris Getz will take over at short. Escobar rolled his ankle as he stepped on Carlos Santana's foot, running out a ground ball in the 7th. Everett Teaford pitched a scoreless 7th inning. And now in the 8th, hard hit but foul off the bat of Jared Head. First at bat for Jared Head. 1 out of 15 since joining the Indians last weekend. Got that first big league hit against Bruce Chen. A little slow roller to the right side. One ball, 2 strikes. Barrett Head getting the big leagues for the first time at the age of 28. So he paid his dues and then some. Moustakas throws him out, one away in the 8th inning. MLB.com's At Bat 11 app for Android, BlackBerry, and Samsung Galaxy Tab is live baseball. Follow the Royals wherever you are with game day pitch-by-pitch tracking, in-progress box scores and stats, breaking news, searchable video highlights, game day audio. Text At Bat to 31826 or go to Royals.com. Jason Donald with one out and nobody on. He doubled and homered against Bruce Chen. His home run in the 4th inning gave the Indians a 5-0 lead. They have not scored since. Bruce Chen finished his outing with 2 scoreless innings, and now Everett Teaford has gone 7 1/3 scoreless. Still 0-2. Good late movement. That pitch started outside, came in through the back door, and Teaford strikes out his second.
You can see where Salvador Perez wanted this pitch. He wanted it down. He patted his glove on the ground, and Everett Teaford was able to get the backdoor breaking ball exactly where they wanted it.
Let's go to Joel for a preview of Boulevard Royals Live.
Well, coming up after the game, Ryan, for the second time in 6 days, a Justin Masterson-Bruce Chen matchup. We'll take a look back at that. Also, Ned Yost comments, and we'll certainly try to get an update on Alcides Escobar's health and his injury. Highlights, reaction, Jeff Montgomery analysis, and Fireworks Friday coming up on Boulevard Royals Live.
All right, thank you, Joel. It's 2 balls and no strikes to Jack Hanahan with a rare hitless game against the Royals. 2 ground outs and a strikeout. 3 balls and no strikes. Three and 1. On the ground to Giavotella. Teaford is retired 6 in a row. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Royals are down by 1. From this point forward, and they've gotten it so far from Everett Teaford, our Miller Lite taste greatness moment.
Well, Everkeeper came in at a time when the Royals needed some stability on the mound, and he was able to come in and get two strikeouts, allow one hit and 2 innings of work, and put 2 zeros on the board and give the Royals offense an opportunity to get going.
So he's in the dugout as Vinny Pistano comes out of the Indians bullpen in a Chevy call to the bullpen. Vinny Pistano, who lived in Kansas City for a short time between the ages of 4 and 8. In some ways, he has been the Indians' good luck charm. Cleveland is 68 and 66, so they're 2 games above 500. But when Vinny Pistano appears in a game, the Indians are 17 games above 500. The bridge to closer Chris Perez, and if you go by the numbers, this will be the more difficult inning. Pistano gets Butler, Hosmer, and Francoeur, and he misses high to Billy, ball 1.
Yeah, Pistano can be tough. He hasn't allowed a run in his last 12 and a third inning, so they see coming out of that bullpen, they've been lights out month of August and going into September.
Goes a fastball by Billy, 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's almost like you're facing Justin Masterson when you see Pistano's arm angle. You just don't have the same ball movement.
Billy up the right field line and foul. Almost dropped one out there as Fukudome was swung over towards right center field. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Indians are also losing about 6 inches when Pistano's on the mound. Masterson 6'6". Pistano listed at 6 foot. And Billy lays off the slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Billy 0 for 5 in the past against Pistano. The best he's been able to do is walk twice. Fouls it away, still 2-2. Billy has walked and singled tonight, 1 out of 2. He had 5 doubles, a home run, and 9 RBIs during the road trip. Led the Royals with those 9 RBIs. He and Melky Cabrera right now tied for the season lead with 79. Got him with a pitch away, 1 away in the 8th. Radio only tomorrow, and then we're back on the air on Sunday. Genmar Gomez just called up for the minor leagues, going up against Jeff Francis. A 1:10 game on Sunday afternoon. Ivy Royals Live begins at 11:30. Tomorrow it's Luke Hochevar against David Huff. Slider for a strike to Eric Hosmer. 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. Swung at a 3-0 pitch against Masterson in the 6th. Flied to deep center and got Cabrera to the plate. The Royals were down 5-0 at the end of 3.5 innings. They got 1 in the 5th on Escobar's single, 1 in the 6th on Hosmer's sac fly, and 2 in the 7th on Alex Gordon's home run. Hosmer trying to tie it up with that swing, down 1 ball and 2 strikes. Lou Marson getting a piece of that foul ball, and we were telling you earlier in the game tonight, he caught all 16 innings of the Indians game on Wednesday night, and then a day game the very next day at noon. That was yesterday, and he caught all 9 innings of that one. Hosmer strokes it to center, and Pereira reads this one, and there are 2 down. Vinny Pistano moved to Kansas City. His mom is from KC. So here's that story with the happy ending. She moved back here after she divorced from Vinny's father. So he lived here ages 4 through 8. The Royals became his favorite team while he was growing up here. But then his parents got back together and they remarried. So he moved back to Southern California, where he was a bat boy as a kid for the Cal State Fullerton baseball team. And then eventually played for Cal State Fullerton and won the College World Series in 2004. So there's more than one fairy tale in that story.
I think anytime you can go from being a bad boy to a player, that's got to be pretty fun. And your dad was also a bad boy with the Dodgers, and your dad went on to be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great story. I mean, you hang around the guys, you learn from the guys, and you find yourself one of the guys.
Marson to the screen, but it drops on the other side. Just on this last road trip, remember we saw Jesse Litch pitching for the Toronto Blue Jays. He was once a Tampa Bay Rays bat boy, and then in one of his first games as a big leaguer, one of the first few games as a big leaguer, he pitched against the Rays and some of the guys he was a bat boy for.
Unbelievable. What a great story. I mean, you can tell that story forever, and it'll always be rare.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Francoeur's double in the second inning was his 43rd of the year, tying him for the league lead with Ben Zobrist of the Rays. Down on strikes, so Pistano faces 3, retires 3, and strikes out 2. What else is new? A close game for the Royals and a close game between the Royals and the Cleveland Indians. Top of the 9th inning. Everett Teaford trying to give the Royals 3 innings tonight. First man he faced was Kosuke Fukudome, who singled, and now Teaford's retired 6 in a row. A little bit low, 2 balls and no strikes to Lou Marson, Indians number 9 hitter. He is 0 for 3 and batting .222. Indians haven't scored since the 4th, and when they scored in the 4th, that gave them a 5-0 lead. Giavotella throws out Marson, 1 away in the 9th. Last weekend the Royals were in Cleveland and they dropped 2 out of 3 games, and every single game was a 1-run game. Royals lost 2-1, 8-7, and then won on Sunday 2-1. And in the just completed road trip where the Royals went 5-5. All 5 of their losses were by 1 run. Across the knees and a strike to Ezequiel Carrera. 1 for 4 with a 4th inning single. Oh, and 2. Still 0-2. Grounded to Sandy Alomar Jr., longtime former Indians catcher. And that's the player that Salvador Perez is compared to the most. Giavotella has to charge up, and he has to hurry, and it's in time to get Carrera. 2 ground balls to second base in the 9th inning.
I really like the way that Giavotella makes this play. He does a good job on his slow roller. He gets to it quickly. He sets his feet, and then he just makes a good exchange with his feet. He caught the ball, and then made his feet speed up quickly and made a nice throw.
So you take that over the second baseman who comes running in, grabs it while he's on the run, and he's still on the run. His momentum going towards home plate and then throwing across his body.
And he's got to throw behind him too, because his momentum coming forward, the faster you're coming, the more you got to throw behind you to bring the ball back to the target that you want to throw to. So just get to it, set your feet, and move your feet real quick and get rid of the ball. He did it. I thought he did a real good job. I like that play better than the first one he made, where he came in running and never set his feet and made a play. So you really got to get, the key thing is an infield is stop the ball. So you stop the ball, you got a chance to make a play. Anytime you run it in on the ball makes a move. You might not be ready to block it or even make the catch.
Three-hit game for Kosuke Fukudome. He has scored 2 of the Indians' 5 runs. Into center field. Melky is back, still back. Ball carrying on him, but he runs it down. 9 in a row knocked down by Tiefert, so he does his job. Now the Royals down by 1 to the bottom of the 9th. Here are the Honda highlights, and dominated by the Indians early on as Drupal Cabrera hits a 2-run home run in the 3rd inning. Jason Donald a solo home run in the 4th, and Cleveland led 5-0. Justin Masterson was cruising along. 4 scoreless innings until Alcides Escobar drove in a run in the 5th. Eric Hosmer with a sac fly in the 6th, and Alex Gord with a 2-run home run in the 7th. Royals were scoreless in the 8th. And now here they are in the bottom of the 9th inning, another 1-run game. And they'll be facing Chris Perez. Has 30 saves this year, 2 against the Royals last weekend. He saved the 2-1 game on Friday and the 8-7 game on Saturday. Moustakas, Giavotella, and Perez. Big at bat for Moustakas personally and for the team. He is 0 for 3 so far with a 15-game hitting streak, which ties the Royals' rookie record. Head in the count, 2-0.
Well, unlike Soria, who's got 5 pitches that he throws, Chris Perez only throws fastball sliders, so they really can narrow down what the hitters have to look for in key situations. Behind in the count, they can look for the fastball. Ahead in the count, they can look slider.
2 balls and 1 strike.
In a 1-run game, if you're swinging well and you get 2-0 like that, you get your pitch, that's when you really want to try to turn on it.
3-1.
Again, right here, Moustakas can be real selective if he wants the ball middle in and something that he likes, but if it's away, he got a pitch he can work with.
Popped up very high to the left side. And Hanahan makes the play. 1 out in the 9th. Now Johnny Giavotella 0 for 3, but in the last half inning turned in the Home Depot defensive play of the game. The Home Depot doing more on defense.
That does a real good job on this slow roller from Carrera. Just does a good job removing his feet to get to the ball and got his speed even quicker to get rid of a nice throw to Hosmer to get a fast runner at first base.
Giavotella has grounded out twice and struck out. This is his first at bat against Chris Perez. One ball, 1 strike. Justin Masterson went 7. Gave up 4 runs. None in the first 4 innings, and then 4 in the last 3. Vinny Pistano retired the Royals in order in the 8th with 2 strikeouts. And now Perez. That's popped up. Long run in for Carrera. And at the last moment calls off Phelps. 2 down. Masterson, even though he's in line to win this game, if Perez can get Salvador Perez, Chris Perez getting Salvador Perez. But maybe the best thing that Masterson did tonight for the Indians was go 7 innings. We talk so often about the bullpen really wearing down in the final month of the season, and no bullpen has thrown more innings since August 1st than the Cleveland Indians. On the outside, strike 1 to Salvador Perez, who hit his first big league home run in Detroit.
Got him a fastball in or half down and stayed back and really turned on this ball. And I tell you what, your first major league home run was a monster shot.
And after your description of that home run the next day, I can sum it up, Frank, with 2 words. Well done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm a medium well guy myself, but thank you very much. You guys inspired me.
Well, you inspired us. We didn't know that on a Tuesday night at Comerica Park we were going to get a baseball sermon. Salvador high in the air, left center field. And Jared Head from Topeka brings it down. That's the inning. That's the ball game. The Royals' last 6 losses have been by 1 run. So the Cleveland Indians hang in there. Even though the Tigers won tonight, they're 5.5 games back, but now they're a game ahead of Chicago in the standings. 5-4 Indians. We'll be right back.